It's been 75 years since Bob Kane and Bill Finger created Batman. So, to celebrate Batman's 75th anniversary, we're counting down the top 10 best Batman artists of all time. Mike Parobeck illustrated the Batman Adventures, which tied to Batman the Animated Series. Starting with a Batman inspired by Bruce Timm's now iconic design, he made it all his own, drawing a clean, simple, elegant Batman in a time where many artists used excessive detail and shadow. From his first issue with Batman battling Arkham's inmates, it was clear that Greg Capullo had a flair for bold, action-packed storytelling. He uses a touch of cartoonishness in his style that allows him to bend reality just enough to let him deliver jaw-dropping stunts and fight scenes. This allows him to make a more expressive and stylized Batman. A far cry from realistic, Kelley Jones' Batman is overtly dark and gothic. Between the gangly, muscular physique, long ears, and billowing cape, his Batman is more like a vampire, which is appropriate considering he drew stories where Batman actually turned into a vampire in Battle Dracula. This version is hands down the most extreme and frightening Batman of them all. During the golden age of comics, Dick Sprang traded the dark, lanky Batman for a barrel-chested, square-jawed, ever-smiling hero. He also pitted Batman and Robin against their villains in imaginative, larger-than-life situations. If you want an idea of how influential Sprang's art style is even today, look no further than the Batman, the Brave and the Bold cartoon, which is pretty much Sprang's work come to life. David Mazzucchelli has only worked on one major Batman story in his career, the beloved classic, Batman Year One. He utilized a noir style, making his Batman not a big muscly brawler, but a lean, agile figure. He practically cut his Batman out of the darkness, so you weren't sure where the shadows ended and he began. You can also thank Mazzucchelli for some of the most iconic imagery related to Batman. During the 60s, when Batman was as campy as can be, Carmine Infantino trimmed away the silly elements, leaving behind a Batman and Robin who were dark, serious, and more detailed than ever before. Gone were the Joker's silly death traps, replaced by grounded detective work and grim cases that fit their new look. Breyfogle is responsible for the way people perceived Batman in the late 80s and 90s. He helped introduce villains such as the Ventriloquist and Mr. Zsasz. Plus, he made the Tim Drake Robin all he could be. His art style blended the classic elements with the more stylized ones to create something entirely his own. Having a background as a technical illustrator, it was no surprise his Batman and Gotham City were always intricately detailed. Saying that Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns had a seismic impact on the Batman franchise is putting it mildly. At the time in the 80s, Batman was still considered goofy and childish, but Miller's seminal work stomped all over that misconception, delivering the most hardcore and brutal Batman ever seen. His massive Batman, full of gray hair, gnarled muscle, and gritted teeth, left a striking impression that is still felt today. Neal Adams' take on Batman became the definitive version for the Bronze Age of comics. His Batman was strong, but lean like a gymnast. He also co-created classic Bat-villains such as Man-Bat and Ra's al Ghul, and also made the Joker nothing to laugh at. His version of Batman became so iconic that it was the main inspiration for the Tim Burton Batman movies. Jim Lee made his big DC Comics debut drawing the Batman story Hush, which very well may be the most gorgeous Batman story ever told. Lee defined the look of Batman in Gotham City for the modern era. His Batman is sleek, muscular, and powerful. Hush included countless moments that showcase Lee's style, from the battle between Batman and Superman to the iconic rooftop kiss with Catwoman. You can see Lee's influence in nearly every Batman artist working today, and half the time, you might be mistaken thinking their Batman is his. And that is why Jim Lee is the greatest Batman artist of all time.